This is the Singer Model 347 for Jen I've been working on. And my next thing that I want to do here is to install the new timing belt. And when you do that, you're going to have to set the timing. But let's get the belt installed. I ordered the new belt from So Classic. And I'm going to get it on here by putting it on these cogs, well, I guess what I'll say first. This is the adjusting pulley right here. This screw is called the swivel screw, so you loosen it and you leave it in so this can swivel. And the screw that goes in here is the adjusting screw, so you can set the deflection or tension on the pulley belt and then tighten it up. So you put the belt on. You want to get this pulley inside the belt. I usually put it around the smaller end and there, like that. And then you've got to kind of work it around this larger pulley, and I just drape it over the top and get it between the front and the back guides or edges, and then just real slowly turn it like so. Now it's in there. Okay. Then I want to put in the adjusting screw now. So let's see if I can get it started with that's what it looks like. It's a match to this other screw over here. So now that I've got the belt on here, I want to put the adjusting screw back in. I can get it in here and get it started with my thumb and finger a little bit. Anytime that you change the timing belt, you're going to have to reset the timing. I don't know of any way around that. So just plan on that. First thing, of course, we'll install the belt, and then we'll set the deflection. You want to tighten that up pretty good so you don't have much more to go, but it still can flex to set the deflection. And the way they say to do that in the service guide is to put a straight edge up here on the top of these two pulleys, up on the side rails. Let's see if I can get one. I found the thinnest. This one's a pretty tight fit. When I did the Model 457, there was more room up here, and it was a lot easier. And I just used an old wood ruler that I had sitting around. I can move this down a little. There we go. Okay. So the idea is that you're supposed to get a 1/4 inch from the bottom of this straight edge to the top of the belt. And it's kind of hard to measure, so I try and find something that's a 1/4 inch. And I used to have a little piece of wood dowel that was in different sizes, 2/8, 1/4 inch, or 3/8, or so forth. This old Singer screwdriver, happens to be a 1/4 inch. So I like to just set it in there like that, and as near to above this as I can get, and that's about a 1/4 inch deflection. So then I'm going to gently pull this down. I'm not going to mash it down. I'm just going to kind of take the slack out of it right there. And then I'm going to tighten the adjusting screw. Pull that out, and then I'm going to look at the deflection here. Like that. Then if I pull this straight edge out of here, and I'll I'll turn my main shaft and see how it feels. It's going pretty good. About a quarter inch deflection. If you tighten it too much, you'll feel the resistance. You'll feel like binding. You know, it'll be harder to turn. And if you don't tighten it enough, it can kind of flap around in here. But a lot of times you'll have to go back and play with the adjusting screw to get it not binding, but not flapping around loose. These belts with the cogs and the pulleys are cogged. They don't slip. You know, you're better off under tightening it just a little bit than over tightening it, because that just puts a strain on the motor. If you don't have something a quarter inch, a standard wood pencil is about 3/8 of an inch, which would get you closer, you know, pretty close, 1/8 of an inch, and then you could play around with it if you had to. And then also, sometimes when I put on a new belt and it's been sewn on for a week or a month, it might stretch just a teeny bit, so that it might have to be readjusted for that. But that's how to put the belt. Then you want to tighten up the swivel screw. Make sure that that's good and snug. And then we'll make sure our adjustment screw good and snug. And everything still feels pretty good. Okay. So now you've got to time the hook to the needle again. And I'm not sure how I'm going to film this, but let's turn the view like this. Let me get this off of here, from under here. Get my protection under there. The way to time the hook to the needle is, the best way I found is to kind of straddle the machine this way so that I can see where the needle would be and where the hook would be, but I can reach around on the back side here and turn that pulley, which I'll show you. I might have to film this in steps. So the way you want to set it is, you may be familiar with these two timing marks on the needle bar. The upper's to set the needle bar height, so when your needle's at the lowest position, that... Okay, let me clarify this. When you're going to start to time the hook, what you need to do is get this lower timing mark, that's the hook timing mark, up flush with this holder, this bracket up here. And you need to do it on the up stroke, like that. Not on the down stroke where it first appears, but you need to go all the way down and bring it back up until it's just disappearing like that into this holder guide. Then when you've got this set like that, we'll turn it over and we will work on the bottom side now that you've got your needle bar raised to the proper height. So you want to loosen the two set screws with your wrench, and then you go up here and see if the hook will turn now. Yeah. Okay, so I can hold this still, and I can move the hook up above with my fingers without moving this. When you set this up, you want at least one of the two set screws easily accessible. I mean, don't put them on the bottom where you can't see them when you want to come back and tighten them up. So have at least one of them visible in a good spot for you. And then, like I said, normally I'm going to take a look here at the top, and I'll have to take a close-up picture, I think. I don't think I can zoom in here enough on this. But I'll have a needle in here, but can you see that this hook now can turn, and the belt below and pulley are not turning? So this is right here. That's the point of the rotary hook. When you have a needle in here and you have this set up, you're going to rotate this either way, clockwise or counterclockwise. And remember, your needle bar is set, and you want that point of that hook to be directly behind the needle. So you need to be able to get up close, good lighting, and see the needle coming down and see the hook come behind it. And you get that point right behind the needle, so it's not poking out past it, and you can't see the point before the needle, right behind the needle. Then everything up here is set, and you're going to come back here, and you have to push straight down on the hook and push straight up on the pulley so that that shaft is flush. So your needle bar stays in the same place. You now have the point of that hook directly behind the needle, and then you're going to come in and tighten up one of the set screws without moving anything else. And when one is good and tight, now you can rotate like this, or with the hand wheel bar, and then you can tighten up the other one. Once you do it, you're going to want to go back, and you're going to take your needle bar all the way down. On the way back up, stop it at that timing mark just before it disappears into the holder. And then you're going to want to look right down there and make sure that the point of the hook is behind the needle. So like I said, I'll try and get a picture of that, or find a picture of how that looks. Some people take out the feed dogs, to get a better look, but I found that I can see it okay. So let me get that set up, but that's basically how you do it. As a recap, needle bar on the upstroke, timing mark just about to disappear into the holder. Loosen the two set screws on the timing pulley. Rotate the hook either way, left or right, until the point's right behind your needle, dead center behind it. Push down on the hook and up on this to make sure it's tight together, and then tighten one of the set screws and you're good. Then you can rotate to where you can see the other set screw. So that's putting the belt in, setting the deflection or tension on it, and how to set the rotary hook behind the needle on the needle bar upstroke. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry I couldn't get in there, but my camera broke, and I'm using another camera here, and I can't focus that close. Thanks for watching.
Okay, continuing on, this was the best I could do with my different cameras. I took some close-up shots of the needle and the hook, and I'm just going to film that off of my monitor. This is how the area looks when you're getting ready to time the needle. So you've got the needle bar on the upstroke set at the bottom timing mark disappearing into the holder. You've loosened the set screws on the pulley underneath so that you can twist this hook left and right just by putting your fingers on it, because it's turning free in the pulley. And in this particular picture here, you might see this. You might see that the point of the hook right there is not behind the needle. It's to the right. And you do not want that. I go to another shot here. This is a view from above of that same, let's see if I can, yep, right in here, you see the hook is not behind the needle. It's to the right of the needle. Again, don't want that. Here is a not so great shot, but I'm trying to show that the point of the hook is past the needle. So there's your needle, and the hook point is already past it. So again, you could just put your fingers on the edge of the hook there, and you can twist it. And since you've got the pulley disconnected and the screws back off down there, you can twist it left to right, either way, to get the point of the hook directly behind the needle. Like I said, some people remove the feed dogs, but to me, I can usually see it good enough. Let's see, one of these pictures was, yeah, here. This is what you want. Right there. So you can see that the point of the hook is behind the needle. Now this is a little side angle. You'd be directly in front of the needle looking at that point. And you don't want to see the point of the needle on the right, and you don't want to see the point coming to the left of the needle. You do not actually want to see the point because it'll be directly behind that needle. And I think that's the best of my shots. Yeah. So that's what you're looking for, is the point of the hook behind the needle. Once you get that, you would press down on part of the hook from above, and you would put your, like with your left hand, and to hold the hook in that position, that on the bottom you'd take your right hand and make sure that the pulley was pushed all the way toward the hook, and then hold that and tighten one of the thumb screws. Then you're set. Then you can turn it a little bit with the hand wheel and tighten the other thumb screw. But that's what correct timing looks like, with the point of the hook directly behind the needle. When the needle bar on the upstroke, it's bottomed out and it's on the way back up, and the bottom mark, which is the timing mark, the bottom mark is disappearing into the holder. Yay, hey. So sorry I had to kind of piecemeal it like this. Maybe if I can sell a couple of my machines, I can afford to get a new camera. So thanks for your patience. I know that the timing was very puzzling to me years ago when I started. So if somebody's looking for timing, and maybe that'll help. thanks for watching. My last video for the 347 for Jen will be when the machine's back together, and I do give you just a picture tour of it, and then do a little test sewing because I want to see if it will really sew. Thanks again. Take care.